What's up? What's up? Another day leveled up. It's your boy Salem, back with another one for you. How you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well. It's all good over here. Today we're going to be talking about a great topic that myself needed to hear 5 years ago. I hope I'm able to shed some light on some things for some people as well. And this is the topic of the dangers of being too spiritual. Too spiritual. So in the honor of spirituality, we're going to light the Palo Santo here. Get this going. Now this is necessary. This is actually an ancient native type of tree that is known to clear the air and actually perk up the senses. Gets me in a good headspace, but let's get into it. So, you've awakened. Congratulations. Why don't you pour yourself up a cup of conspiracy theories and find out who shot JFK, and while you're at it, book that trip to Electric Forest. You got enough money, you know? That's why we got 5 roommates, right? We're woke. We don't need to deal with society and reality. Don't need all that. I'm going to enjoy my life and meditate for hours on end, you know? As long as I'm good and my mental and spirit's good, I will get everything I need, right? False. Completely false. Let's get into the pitfalls of being too spiritual. So first off, I want to start with let's start talking to the guys first. Become too spiritual. I have some friends that have sometimes got themselves in this point, myself included. And we start seeing women as this, like, God's little angels, you know? They're all angels. We should just respect them, treat them like they're the greatest thing on earth. They're all queens, you know? But that is false. And bear with me, if any girls are watching, don't get too crazy. It's all good. Yes, you need to respect every woman, but royalty treatment, that is completely different. Not every girl, or girls and guys, not every guy deserves the royal treatment. What are they bringing to the table? They have to bring something to the table so that you could see them and actually respect them and appreciate them. That's what gifts should be seen as appreciation and the acts of service, appreciation by what you are able to get back from that relationship, but not by default, because that's a naive lens that I believe that spirituality and religion get a lot of people in this mindset of, and it's a lot of guys, I hate to say it, I mean, like, some girls will lie to guys and say that they are virgins, and some guys will believe it. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience. It's not reality. It's not reality. Women enjoy sex just as much as us, and probably have just as much time or harder time not having sex. That's just the cold hard truth. You know how hard it is to go on nofap. Girls could rarely go a month without actually having sex or pleasuring themselves as well. So it'd be insane and naive to believe that, and don't go down that rabbit hole, because you will be in a world of hurt and start demonizing the women once you find out that reality, that they're not all God's little angels, you know? Sometimes they're just gonna get their rocks off, and it's just reality. But throw those lenses away. Another important part in this is sometimes you might just start ignoring reality and not handling things properly, appropriately along the lines of like finances. Myself, when I had this awakened type of journey about 5 years ago, I stopped really doing what I needed to do financially and job-wise. I felt like I was pretty much entitled to a great life and that I didn't need to do those things. And I stopped paying some things. I stopped paying my car payment at the time and thought I could get away with it. And eventually my car got repoed. Crazy. Just thought I was woke enough to know that I didn't need to make no car payment. Nah, I'm good. I don't need to do all that. False. Went out to the parking garage one day. Car was gone. I was humbled. I was crying. I didn't know what to do. But luckily, one of my best friends at the time, he offered me a job, and silver lining, I ended up getting a job of driving a Tesla around town. So I was like, all right, well, lesson learned. But do not neglect your finances. You still have to operate in this world. You're not entitled to a good life, and just know that. Another thing I would say is a lot of people, they start to lack boundaries when they become too spiritual because they start to believe that, like, well, I don't need to protect my energy because if I'm so-called enlightened and woke, like, I don't need to guard my energy. Like, this person should just not be around me. And then they get themselves on this pedestalization of, like, these people, like, they're just unconscious. Like, I can't be around unconscious people. Like, stupid. Like, how do they not know all this stuff? Like, how do they not know all these conspiracies and things I've been reading about, and that the world operates on vibration and things like that? And it's like, even though that some of these things are maybe true, it doesn't make these people any lesser of people because they don't have that knowledge. Like, forgive them, for they do not know what they do, and they're just unconscious. They will eventually get there. Everybody's journey is to get to a certain state of consciousness, and not everybody's on the same time frame. So, gotta allow them to do as they do, and realize it's a test at the end of the day anyway. And like I said, also, when you become too spiritual, you could start to allow yourself to start drifting away from society and taking less action. There's some spiritual teachers like Abraham Hicks, a few others that are really polarized in the state of, like, visualization and meditation, and not really saying too much, taking too much action, but what they do say has value, because I've listened to them all, and it's just getting yourself into a state of certain frequency and vibration, and realizing that that will attract things, but you still have to go out in the world and do things. So some people, and speaking from experience, I would start meditating like 30 minutes, at least an hour a day, and it would sometimes work, but I was doing too much on the back end and not putting anything out into the world, expecting to get things back without putting anything out. Just me reading so much spiritual self-help books, meditating all the time, and then would rarely leave the house because everybody was asleep and I was woke, and I didn't need to be around those sleep people. I was too good, you know? Why am I here? I'm woke, bro, come on. It's like, false, bro. You're just now coming out of the slumber. You're not fully awakened, you're not enlightened, you don't know everything. But I found myself, when I was drifting too far, you have to realize that you can't get too far in that direction. Eckhart Tolle talks about, like, when your consciousness raises in spirit and your intellect and intelligence doesn't rise at the same time, there's going to be an imbalance. That's why some people could be too smart for their own good, and then there's some people that are too spiritual that can't even operate in society. And you have to be able to balance both. So I found when I was getting too far left, I would open up some cold hard truth like Jordan Peterson, Tony Robbins. Start looking at people like Grant Cardone and 10x, you know, you gotta hit life 10x, you know, and just really sometimes you just need to slap to the neck sometimes, just be like, yo, get your ass up. I know you're spiritual, we're all spiritual beings, but get your ass up out the house and start working. During that time, I got too spiritual. I started moving out of the workforce. I started being a little too good for the workforce. You know, I'll never have a job. I celebrated a couple of years ago of never having a job, and I literally was like, I'm never going back in the workforce. Nope, not for me. False. I started doing buying and reselling things through eBay. I would go to these Goodwill distribution centers and start buying and reselling items on eBay, and it worked for me, but I wasn't being challenged enough. I wasn't putting myself fully into it and reaping. I wasn't going as hard as I could have at the end of the day. And I was able to sustain a living, but what I realized was, like, that's not what I want to continue to do. And for me to scale this up to a certain point, I'm gonna have to do things that I really don't enjoy doing. So at that point, I had to humble myself and go back into the workforce, and I started serving again. I swore I would never get a restaurant job. I would never be a waiter again. But living here in Denver, I knew, like, I could make great money doing that. So got back into the workforce and turned out to be the exact thing I needed, and met the exact people I needed. My general manager interviewed me, and I just felt a connection right off the bat. And less than a year, I was moved into management, and I'm loving everything about the whole journey. And my manager, the general manager, he then tells me, like, months into me working there, like, we get closer and closer in our relationship, and he brings up talking about this girl and how they connected on one of his favorite books, The Alchemist. The old alchemist, you know? Starts telling me how he met Paulo Coelho, the author of the book, and how he traveled Europe. And I was just, like, amazed. It's like, I feel like I'm living in this book. Like, you have to believe that everything happens for a reason, pronoia. And it's just like a belief that the universe is always conspiring in your favor, and that, like, confirmed it right there. And it was just like, I got the chills when he started talking. I told him all about it, and told him I was literally thinking about getting a tattoo from a phrase from that book. And he brought in his book and everything, but it's insane. But the gist of what I'm getting at there is that you never know what life is going to put in your way, and that you're gonna have to take some action and be uncomfortable sometimes. Like, I find a lot of people who are too spiritual, they don't like to get uncomfortable. They need everything to be nice. They need to have the right incense going. They need to have this and that, and you're just like, what happens when you don't have that? Your whole life is gonna be upside down. You gotta know how to just be, and be non-attached to so much around you that you could, no matter what happens, you're always being able to stay center. And I had to learn that, and growing inside of the restaurant business, I learned just to deal with my personality and everybody else's personality, and be able to manage my own as well as everyone else's. And it's been a big spiritual journey for me here while working at the restaurant. So life is wild, but yeah, life is going to test you. We got to be aware that life is not meant to be easy. Once you awaken, that's part of the journey, but what you do after is what really matters. And life may be harder to accept once you are awakened, but you're not fully enlightened. You're just coming out of a little slumber. But it will eventually fade. The discomfort and the suffering that you're going to feel from realizing the world is not how you were led to believe growing up. It's going to take some time to digest, but once you do, you're going to come out and start taking action. And yeah, just don't get too spiritual. Takeaways I want you guys to leave with from this video are, just don't get on a spiritual high horse. Everybody isn't out to get you once you're woke. You may think that like everybody's an Agent Smith and you're Neo, and you gotta figure out how you're gonna battle them every single day. And life is a challenge, but they're not against you. We're all in this together, and you could help them just as much as you could help yourself, but it's becoming the best individual you can. So do not condemn others as well. Don't ignore reality. Do not ignore your finances. Do not let the haze of spirituality and religion to get you in a haze of not taking people as they come. And if someone shows themselves to you, accept them as what they show you. You have to recognize reality at the end of the day. Another one is you gotta have boundaries. You will become a little bit more empathic, but you have to have your boundaries, but while having boundaries, know that life is challenging and that you have to know how to deal with the people that are a little less conscious than you, you know? That's how it is. But you're woke, bro. False. And it's a hero's journey at the end of the day. Try to adopt the mindset of pronoia, which is a belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Because once you could see things like that, no matter what's going on, you'll be like, all right, well, how can I learn from this? What am I trying to be told right now? And there's something I could take from this situation. And I'm gonna wrap up with this because I believe that life's purpose is to shape ourselves up into an individual that we admire, and in every way always continuing to level up, and then give that person away, give that individual away. That's our life purpose, I believe. So by becoming spiritual, you will be able to know yourself, you'll get to know others, but shape yourself in an individual so you could be looked at as someone you admire and that other people can admire, and this give that individual away. Because in giving that away, you're showing that you could place yourself and shape yourself up to a person that you admire, and people could all do the same. So you just want to be a light at the end of the day. Just be a light. Don't make it your duty to just extinguish all the bad and all the darkness. It's like just be the best person you could be at the end of the day. So if any of you guys resonated with this video, you could like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop more content, and just know a belief may be comforting, but only through true experience could it be liberating. But with this video, just take the belief. There's no need to experience all this. This is kind of a warning. This is a warning type video. But continue to level up Until next time, it's your boy Salem.